All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to H&D Abroad. I am Herman. We apologize for our delayed start today. Trying to get a few issues together, but we are here. Miss D is on the way. She is wrapping something up that we had to get straight. Didn't want to delay any longer. It's always good to see everybody here. Hey, Tanya. Hey, Sam from Black Women Build Wills. Black Women Build Wealth. Man, mouth not ready this morning. I see Agent Grateful. Hey, Bobby and Cedric. Glad you all are here. Always good to see everyone in the chat. I am Herman of H&D Abroad. D is on the way. Here on H&D Abroad, we work to share our experience, our journey to move abroad, and to help Black couples see moving abroad as a plan A earlier in their lives, not just as a retirement option. And we do that with the intention of also helping to improve our health, to improve generational wealth, and as of course, to build this community which we have with you. You all are the best community in the world, and we are glad to have you. So if that sounds good to you, as always, we ask you to like on this video, first and foremost. Doesn't matter, we haven't done anything yet. That's important. Then hit the subscribe button, be a part of our community, and hit the notification bell so that whenever we go live, you will know it. We are live every Saturday from 1 p.m. At 1 p.m. Central Time, 2 p.m. Eastern, as well as some Monday nights for Man Monday. And on Thursday nights, Miss D goes live with her women's health spotlight. So, taking a minute to introduce the great D for those who don't know her, as she is. We got everything straight, Miss D?
We do.
All right.
I just want to say, ladies, if you have not gotten yourself the relief that is yours, please go grab you a fan. Woo!
Hey, servant teacher Nikki, good to see you. Hey, Nikki and David. Hey, Dave, good to see you here. All right, so no further delay. It is summer. It is hot. It is my assumption that it's just as hot where you are as it is here. The world is telling us, that it's warm, and we are experiencing it. It's a little overcast-ish today, which is pushing the humidity up a notch, even though it's blocking out direct sun.
But we about to turn up the heat is what he's going with that. We're gonna warm it up, because when you've got friends like we've got friends that are publishing content that say you might want to check and recheck your assumptions. I've been peeling back some layers around the money aspect. I feel like for a lot of people, once you get past, I'm motivated to living abroad, whatever that looks like. Once you get past, just some of those basic hurdles of getting your mind getting your mind rolling forward, that where a lot of people, where I got stuck, I'll just say it like that, where I have gotten stuck is along the way, I know I can move debt aside. Like, we've done that. We calculated this morning, it was over $130,000. We just knocked it down in less than a year. But when it comes to a sustainable move abroad, what I have just not been able to pry, or that has had me in the chokehold, that's the way I've been describing it, is what's had me in a chokehold is a job. Like, I need a job that will fund my life. Now, I'm not saying you don't need a job, and I'm definitely not saying you don't need to work. But choosing a 100% entrepreneurial lifestyle is not something that I've lived in the States. And so to choose that is foreign to me. Okay. But I have to commend, I think, both of us, because we're looking at the facts. When I say facts, I'm talking about people giving on the ground information about what it takes to live there. The more I've massaged that, I don't need to replace my US salary. I'm not trying to make six figures in a different place. Okay. Not out the gate. Okay. That's not me. That's not where I'm starting. But even with a lower, like, I still feel like I've got to find an employer where I can count on 20 hours a week. The salary mindset is what we're going to talk about today. The job security, as far as I have a job, I will have a job until I put it down. We're going to peel back that. We're going to talk about the social and cultural things around holding on to what a job does for your life. So I'm really hoping, and then when you have people that are willing to say, what you really need to do, and this is said, what you really need to do is, and if they let you go, then you need to do this over here, because that's what the community is saying. Or when you have people like gallivanting grandma to say, baby, what you need to do is structure your life so that your income far outpaces your lifestyle. Those are the kind of folks that are helping me to confront my death grip.
So two things for me, and we use the individual pronouns a lot, because we need you to know that even though we think together, we also think independently. Two things that spurred for me this conversation this week were, first, I had a conversation with a gentleman who recently began doing some work where I'm doing some work. That's protective. And he said he is my age, 50. And he said that this was one of the few times he had not worked for himself in his entire life. Mm. He said at the age of 9, he started a car wash business. He did that for 2 years, which means he was 11. And at that age, he gave it to some cousins to manage, and it is still in business today. And he collects money from that business, even though he does not run it. He named printing business. He named some construction business. He named some trucking business. Okay. And the reason he was doing this particular work as an employee, he and his wife have twins that are 11. That's a whole nother statement right there. And a boy and a girl, and they were like,
where you at?
And they had moved to the local area, and he was from another state, and he was still going back and forth, commuting between here and that state, and which means he was spending a lot of his time there. And they were like, Dad, it's time for you to be here. You can do this. And he said, and they were outlining for him how he could fix his business. And he said, so he picked up some work so that he could be present, because those businesses technically take care of themselves. But his mindset was entrepreneurial. And that really played a chord with me, because I'm a firm believer that Black men are entrepreneurial by nature, by history, and that circumstances and culture, especially here in the States, have really put a limit on, because it's, are you making enough money? Are you doing too many things? What if those fall apart? There's so many things that say, if you aren't doing the thing, if you aren't doing something that makes a lot of times your female partner comfortable, then you aren't, you are putting your house and your home in jeopardy. That was the verse. Then Bobby and Cedric of Aging Grateful decided to do a video where they were talking about us and pretending that they weren't.
Generating income abroad. I believe that is.
There it is right there.
Yeah, generating income living in San Miguel de Allende, Mexico.
And we were firm believers that they were just talking directly to us. And so we really took a minute to absorb what they were saying. And yeah, he's laughing at me, but he knows it's the truth. What they presented was you have, and here's what they presented was you have the skills to do what you need to do to make the decisions you need to make. You have the skills to bring in the funds to fund your life. And the reason it struck me so firmly is because we've been saying that over and over again.
We have.
But we sit right here and tell you why our head is against a brick wall and we can go this far and no further.
Right.
And I don't know, maybe that's not a fair way to say it, but the hypocrisy of it kind of struck me kind of hard, because fear is a serious it is a constrictor of forward motion. It is a slave master that can tie you down, because the unknown, as well as building on our interpretation of failure or success and what success should look like and doesn't look like. I have been an entrepreneur as a culinarian for this year's 10 years. And it birthed out of necessity and not necessarily out of the desire to do that thing. It was like, I got nothing else to lose. I'm at the bottom of the barrel. If we don't do something, then we're going to self-destruct as a family, as a lifestyle, just completely. And it's funny, in the success, and I'm using that word on purpose, in the success that I've had in this process, I still often feel at that beginner stage. And the thought of, I put my foot out there and it gets stomped on, because food service is one of the most.
It is, yeah, that people lose food businesses here.
And I don't have a dime to balance, but I used to have a supervisor who used to tell us all the time, stop creating obstacles. I think in this scenario, it's a legitimate statement. In that scenario, it wasn't, but in this scenario, it's a legitimate statement.
We've had Diamond on before. I know her mentality, and I've said I knew of entrepreneurs, but I never came close enough to them to kind of get influenced by their thought process, to understand their mindset. I think being a long-term entrepreneur means I have confidence in my ability. And Cedric, in the generating income video that they did, said, if you can do it for someone else, you can do it for yourself. But that's, where they get you is salary. When you are a salary employee, probably two things are happening. One, you're giving way more time. You're giving way more time than 40 hours. You're probably giving 60 or more. But that check is steady. And that is what has me in a choke. I think if I were an hourly employee, I'd be like, I can do better than this with the effort that I'm giving within an hour. But when that money is steady, and I can literally calculate out 6 months, 8 months, like we were doing this morning. I can do these kinds of things because I know this money is set. That is, I think that salaries do you a disservice.
This is exactly, Bobby, it's exactly what I was getting ready to say, because I have been in the unemployment loop for the entirety of our marriage.
When you work, and
Because
Diamond knows what it's like to work in nonprofits. You get those grants. Those grants are for a couple of years. They either are successful in getting refunded, or they find new ways to fund the staff to do similar work. I went from
behavioral science work, nonprofit grants, to some HR work, to culinary work. We're talking about you employed, you're not employed, you employed.
And get this, his HR work was with city government. When you are in government, whether you're in county government, when you're in these government kinds of positions, you can feel protected because there is a process for letting you go. Those merit systems are there to create quote unquote fairness, to create stability where the private sector doesn't. And what happened? The largest municipal bankruptcy happened. The largest municipal bankruptcy happened. And here we are, two well-qualified people. 2 weeks after my federal agency got disestablished, you can look that word up, that's how they describe it, and 17,000 of us were let go for my federal job. 2 weeks later, his county job in HR. So you're talking about I mean, when we go back to that time and those feelings of anxiety, what do I do? We're going through our savings, even though we have really structured our lifestyle down to, we got cricket phones.
We were down to
we let go of our regular cell service. We were doing,
what was it? It was called, it was like cricket, but it was called, I can't remember. Yeah, it was basic. And for the last 12 years, we have hustled.
Yeah.
We have had several businesses. The trick is what is income is defined by what is acceptable success.
So when you say success, okay, so I want to, okay, so Diamond is saying something that we put in the tags of this video, because where people are talking about this, I said, I don't want to title our video the same way, but she's right. It's called wage slavery.
Correct.
It's called, there's a whole genre of people talking about wage slavery, and it creates the slow drip. Salary is a part of that slow drip. Benefits are a part of that slow drip that make you say it's safer over here than it is out here in the wild, wild west of entrepreneurship, because at least it's steady money. It's steady money until stockholders we need to make sure our statements look good. Mm-hmm. Okay. Mm-hmm. And if our statements aren't looking good because we're not being awarded these massive defense contracts, or some bets that we made as far as, being able to develop these technologies, and I'm specifically talking about my manufacturing industry, when those things, hey, we didn't anticipate in 5 years that the pandemic would come and the cost increases and the slow, we're talking about, what do you call that? Supply chain issues that really drove up the cost. They've got to balance, folks got to balance their books so that they can continue to be profitable. And so you end up with whole segments, realignments, people, really highly skilled workers, them saying, okay, we'd rather let them go. And it takes so much to recruit those folk, to let them go than to have to keep paying those salaries when we don't have the program bandwidth.
Living, loving abroad is saying something that's important. It can be even harder when you enjoy your job.
True.
If you don't like your job, it don't paycheck after a while. Paycheck be damned when I'm under a duress and stress and anger and frustration and I'm being disrespected and you can walk away from. You can find a reason to walk away from. You can find a way to be motivated. When you say, at the very minimum, when you say, I don't mind the job, I hear that.
Yeah. Oh, Gene talked about it.
It's not bad. It's not great. It's okay. I can do this.
Life, like the work that he did was completely energy. You could see on his face just the sheer joy of, I fly helicopters and I love it. Like the thrill.
And very few people get to feel that way about their jobs.
Right.
But when the money is good, we talk about young people. We talk about our concerns about young people, especially when we're trying to get them to continue to learn, to finish school, to advance themselves. Yep. Our middle boy is making some cash. Bruh, I was like, I'm moving into your apartment with you. It's time. I'm not old, but you can take care of me now. But that money, I talk to young people all the time who said I was doing, and then I came over here because I needed to work, and then the check started coming in. And what we fail to realize is that doesn't go away. You don't wake up one day and say, okay, let's back up a little bit and move back into less money, and I need to go back and take care of these things. From once the money starts coming in and you can do, especially if you have any feelings of once upon a time we couldn't. If you've ever been in the space that we feel like we've been in, where we went from doing really well to damn near losing our house, then you're just like, the money, where's my, hey, back up, I need that to, and you lose perspective, I think, on who you are as a whole person. When in the midst of that financial turmoil, and I think I told this story before, in the midst of that financial turmoil, I was like, what are we going to do? I can't find anything. People are interested in me with this food. I'm going to go to culinary school. Zero desire to go to culinary school. Zero. But I wanted some of the information that was available, and they would not let me take specific classes. So it was all or nothing. I had signed up. I had registered. I was a week away from class, and Dee found an apprenticeship at one of the local churches that was for underserved people and providing them skills. I did not match. What I matched was the financial income bracket, and because they didn't have a lot of people for this rotation to join, they allowed me to get in.
But the access.
I sat down with the chef the first day. He said, we're going to sit down for 30 minutes. I'm going to get to know you. Then we're going to go in the kitchen and start. We talked, instead of 30 minutes, we talked 4 hours. At the end of 4 hours, he said, all I'm going to be helping you do is get yourself launched. He said, you got information about food. I had been a manager. I had been in HR. I had been structured with people. That was my background. He was like, dude, all you need is forward. I left that job, and my first job in culinary was management. My second job in culinary was my own business. My third job in culinary was management. My fourth and fifth jobs in culinary were management. I've never been a line worker. Okay. That's not a brag. That's just, sometimes you forget what you're capable of.
And I feel like jobs, the job security is allowing you to lean when you could really stand up for yourself. You can build. I feel like I have to let go of the trauma of that time.
Mm-hmm.
I have to to just be straight up honest. It was traumatic to be like, okay, so what do I need to sell to be able to meet this bill? If you've never been there before, bless you.
The lights
Okay.
are off and we're cooking on the camping grill. So that
Because they have decided that the cost per unit for the power bill was going to jump.
Right.
Everybody, I mean, literally everybody was like,
and it's either
how are we going to add?
It was either pay the power or pay the mortgage. Yeah.
$200 and $300 more than we would normally pay.
Right.
Not even in the house all the time, every day. It's hard. It's hard. So what I'm saying is why my good job brings me security is not, it is the structure of work in the US. It is the structure of work. It is the structure of work at our level.
Okay.
Okay. When I say our level,
okay,
hourly wage versus salary is a complete, there's a different, I feel like it's a different feel. When you are hourly, you work for yourself. If you're working, that's when you get paid. When you're not working, you don't get paid. It makes you hungry for that salaried, steady money, the steadiness, the confidence in where you work. Like we never fathomed a housing mortgage crisis until a mortgage crisis actually happened. We never imagined that hundreds of thousands of jobs could be lost every day for months. When Obama first got into office, I mean, it was so scary to watch the news. If you were not well triggered back then watching the news, when you could see federal workers, people who were at the car lots buying brand new cars, now driving up to churches to get dry beans and flour and sugar because somebody decided they weren't going to sign to raise the debt ceiling. And so everything gets put on hold.
And to go from being the people who helped people in that line to
Yes.
being the people in that line,
yes,
is a experience that is hard to ignore in the psyche.
Yes.
Not making excuses, just trying to say what we have looked at face first. But Bob is saying here something that I say all the time. This is our history.
Yes.
The people who are before us were making up jobs that other people were claiming were theirs. But if we had not created the jobs and the concepts and the works, we would never have survived because the world wasn't trying to give us, this country wasn't trying to give us a pass. And so we were having to create dynamics that made work. We created a whole Wall Street that wasn't Wall Street. That is a part of the dynamic of who they are.
I'm gonna go a little bit deeper. My great-grandparents, I've shown you all pictures of my family in the background before, but my dad's grandmother and grandfather worked a farm in southern Alabama as sharecroppers. Okay, so they worked. Sharecropping is where you don't own the land, but you work the land and you earn a profit from what was grown, but your housing was paid for. Your housing was provided by the person who owned the land. So you work the soil, and what you earned from the sale of what you grew was your profit, but everything around it. So you paid a lease to the person who owned the land. You paid a lease for the house. And it would always, you would never make enough. It would just be not even just enough. You'd always be short. And that's the feeling that that I've been getting is the more ways I try to close the gaping hole. So debt, getting rid of debt. The IRS is coming for me because it looks like I made a lot of money. And I was like, no, I made money to pay you.
Mhm.
So give me, okay, so it's paying off the student loans, trying to close these holes has made us vulnerable. But that's what it's supposed to. I mean, it's like this system is not, I'm not supposed to be healthy in this system because what makes money is sick people. When I saw that individuals are paying
Mhm.
$5,800 a year for wellness services, massages, all kinds of things to stay healthy. They're paying it. And then you add pharmaceuticals, then you add hospitals and healthcare systems. These are built, the structure of the way that things are in this US-based life, I can't. It's like I can't get free. It's built to keep me in place. I'm trying to break orbit. And this is the gravitational pull.
That's good. It's the trap of the well-paying job, though, because if I'm doing well, then I'm safe.
Yes.
And again, you hear us talk a lot about safety being a big thing for people of color in particular, because I have to build a safety net. And a safety net looks like what we've been trained all along: a college education, a well-paying job. Even if you didn't go to college, there are people still going to work for services like the post office because they think they're going to make big money. And the post office pays well. But when's the last time you wrote a letter? When's the last time you paid your bills through the mail? When's the last time you sent a postcard? If we took away all the junk mail and all the packages that people refuse to go to the store and buy for themselves, what would come through the mail? And so the jobs, I'm afraid that jobs like the post office and the revenue department, they're going to go the way of newspapers and bookstores, because those are not sustainable. And so jobs that used to be the job aren't the job anymore. And factories are automated and
even union jobs where we feel like it's just, you got to complete a few more steps, but you are just as much out the door as the rest of us.
And that,
wow,
that's weight.
Yeah.
That's weight. Because if not, then you're where Tanya is here. Because I've been there a million times.
At least they told you in the morning. I have known. I have watched.
I have worked a whole day.
I have watched. I'll never forget. I was right out of college. I knew that because the manager didn't have. I mean, you could. Toxic bosses. I didn't even know that was what he was. I knew the day before. Dude said, I'm going to let him come into work because he worked overnight. I'm going to come in early in the morning and let him go. What kind of sick foolishness? The whole job.
I watched my child get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, her first job ever. She was already feeling insecure about the job. Drive all the way across town to a major corporation at their distributing center where she was working for the holiday at 5 o'clock in the morning for her to walk in the front door and them tell her they were letting her go.
You could have called me.
They could have told her yesterday.
Me. You could have told me at the end of the day. It wasn't like you decided this morning that.
And I've watched my child be debilitated in her forward progress in work, because in a beginning sensitive place, she was demoralized and disrespected. And we run from that. And so she's making good money right now. in a job that she needs to walk away from.
And she knows it
and
here.
knows it.
But I'm telling you,
her bills are being paid, and this is what I can do, and this is where I feel safe. And it's hard to criticize her because
right here,
mom and dad are guilty.
Right here. Right here.
Yeah, and this and the other danger, I was talking about the danger of the good job. The other danger is you've heard us talk about when you take trips. First of all, take trips,
please.
But when you take trips to see, if you're going to, when we were dating, she said to me, and I quote, "Florida's not the South." I said, "Oh, you've been to Tampa, Jacksonville, Miami, Orlando. Resort. You've not been to Florida. Florida is more south than Alabama." You read into that how you want to. And until you've gotten away from the pretty, the cute, and the resort, and have a chance to see that there are places where you are afforded opportunity, it does not translate. These conversations are great to those of us who've had a chance to go and see. It's a whole nother conversation to somebody who's been on their block for the last 40 years, watching things gentrify around them, watching their family lose jobs, lose cars. When you've had somebody drag your car away with the parking brake on because it got repoed, when you come home and your stuff is sitting out on the front porch because you got evicted and there was nothing you could do because you had to go to work. I mean, those traumas, those fears create because we don't know that there is something different. We don't explore the opportunity to something different.
Well, I want to keep centering. This is our challenge.
Correct.
It's hard to be in HR and not have a reality check, because I see the rifts. I can see the data where people are being hired, where people are letting go. I feel pretty insulated because I'm in the corporate office, but times for who they want it to be, times is hard. Okay. Deal with your emotional baggage. Deal with your emotional history. I hate to say baggage. Deal with your emotional history where you know that emotion, past trauma is holding you back. I started with a counselor because the self-evaluation process each year would cause me anxiety. That's what I thought. Once I started peeling back the layers of why does that? Because your performance evaluation determines your ability to get a raise, to be considered for promotions. And so because I had such a need to progress financially, to expand my career, I was well triggered. But like S. Anne Marie was saying in the HR, anti-HR lady, I was like, I'm not going to let them run me out of this job. I'm not going to let them run me. I need to figure out why. It's not me. I'm in, who said it? I'm in the matrix. I'm trying to do out of matrix stuff in the matrix. It's not going to meld. It's not going to meld. When we were talking about being over 50 and your mouth get loose. I'm beginning to realize as you realign yourself, you're going to rub folks the wrong way. The environment is going to have way more friction that it's not my job to fix. It's not my job to fix why the job is secure for me. It's my responsibility to attach myself to processes that allow me to center, rest, and bloom, and bloom the entrepreneurial that's in me. Take down some of the risk, create these rivers, streams there that I have multiple ways that I can dial up, scale back for my lifestyle. We asked Diamond and the Sisters Who Sit group to design a masterclass on how to when to recognize that the climate is right for you to turn a traditional house sit into paid house sitting. Because I got on and I was like, look, these people are coming back to me every year to come and house sit with them. And they're like, I'm not renewing. When I talked to where I'm going, she said, you're the best house sitter we've ever had. And I'm not looking for anybody else. So we want to book you. We booked you for this year and we want to book you for next year. I'm like, what? What is that? Do you know what Diamond said? I appreciate y'all wanting this masterclass. And yes, if I was in the capitalistic, money hungry, I've got an audience, people would be developing stuff and doing 10, 20 things. She said, I got this one retreat I'm doing. When I'm done with that and I've healed from that, I've recovered, I've rested, then I can move on to the next thing. That is the lifestyle. That is the way I want, but I can't do that in the structure that we're currently living in, where every month, I don't know if the power bill is gone, if the car insurance, the water bill, we've seen that go absolutely, where we were paying $25 a month and then we were paying $150 a month for water and sewer.
We didn't charge anything. Okay. So here's a challenge question, D. We're interviewing each other.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have faith? Let's preempt that. I hear, forget what I've said.
Okay.
Forget what I've said. I'm biased. Okay. I've heard consistently from various levels of people. Some sitting right here in the chat with us today, people who you've said are helpers, mentors, however you want to specify them, say to you, you can do whatever it is you want to do. You can go wherever you want to go. You can create, you can do, you have high level skill. Talking about just D.
Okay.
Not talking about me.
Okay.
Do you have faith in your ability, in your skill to say, I can do this and I can make this big at the level in which I'm comfortable? Because again, what you just shared about Diamond is important. If you're going to go into it and then turn yourself into your own slave, you're going to be whipping yourself across the back like you.
I'm telling you what Sandra said, don't become your own toxic boss.
Yeah. Do you have faith in your ability to step out and move forward?
There's a part A and part B to that.
Go for it.
Part A is I have the gift.
Yes, girl.
I have the gift of creating. I have the gift of creating to study a population, to understand the push and pull messages, the things that could make their path easier. That's my thing. Do you know where I trip up? The B part of this?
Okay.
Do they want to buy that from me?
Okay. Why? What does that mean?
Because I feel like I've had a history of, let's take the ballooning.
Okay.
Okay. So I started off learning how to twist balloons. If you know anything about balloon twisting, dogs and swords, people do that. I was like, that's nice. That's pretty basic. I leaned in. I bought videos when it was, I'm talking about VHS. It was back that far, VHS and then CDs, to learn new techniques, to learn specialty things, and to really grow this into something that could make good on a very creative. And this was while I was doing this while I was in a PhD program. Because I was like, I want to get paid good money. And it paid good money. But there were hits and misses. There were hits and misses. And I was at a point in my life where I felt like it needed to be hitting.
Okay.
It needed to be hitting because I had bills that were hitting. I had things that required the structure, that needed a solid foundation. And I was just like, this is too iffy. So remember when I was going to I was doing the libraries, and I was just like, this person is coming in doing half of what I do, but they're booking multiple locations. I do what I do. I got to travel all over the state to make this little money. And I'm like, it was such a letdown. My desire, my ability to create. But when I started putting it out there, now this is well before, YouTube in the way that we know it now, Instagram, none of that existed back then. Not in the way that we use it for marketing purposes now. And so it was really disheartening to be passionate about something, to know that I love literacy. I love twisting balloons. We were bringing some really creative as well as real foundational knowledge to processes that were just like, that's really nice, but we don't want to buy that right now, or from you, or ghost me, or I was like, I ain't nobody got time for that.
Okay.
I've held on to it because, drip, drip. I'll take it. But I have felt like when you launch yourself as an entrepreneur, when you launch yourself, at Celeste is in the chat right now, when you launch yourself into contracting, it's that up and down and up and down that I'm not emotionally prepared for.
Okay.
I feel like the way I've built my life now, I'm not emotionally prepared for that up and down and up and down.
So when you encourage that for others, what are you telling them that you don't feel confident telling yourself?
What I believe that I'm telling people is, if you got a job that you feel gives you security, use that, but get out here and get yours. Because you always want to have a plan. What I know for sure is ain't nobody looking out for D but D. You know what I'm saying? Okay. In this current political environment, Team D or Team R is not thinking about D, H, and our unit like we are.
Correct.
So nobody, what do we say? Me find me. I am, or how Snoop says, I want to thank myself. I want to thank myself putting in the time. I want to thank myself for looking out for me. I want to thank myself. That's what we've got to be. It's the pull it back. Don't put all your eggs in a basket is where I'm asking people to consider. B is, if you are timid, give space for your dreams. Give space for your passions, because somebody wants what you do without even think about it. The man with the peanut butter and jelly video. I'm going to keep bringing it up.
She assumes the man was being serious about this video.
The man with the peanut butter and jelly video is making some money from shorts and monies from videos, because people are like, I can't believe this, and they share it. People have a starting point. I'm hopeful, because mindset is more than just, I want to think my way to something. The law of attraction is real.
Mm-hmm.
The law of attraction in this setting, I believe, says, I'm going to put good into the world, and people are looking for good. And I'm going to keep raising the standard for that.
Okay. So
till people find me and want to exchange money for whatever product or service that I'm putting out.
And I'm asking these questions. I'm asking these questions because, I have firsthand knowledge of the challenges in the environment you're in.
Mm-hmm.
We're not talking about a bad job. We're talking about the challenges as it relates to, come over a little bit.
Oh.
As it relates to your ability to feel at peace, using your phrase, your ability to feel at peace, to move forward in a reasonable way in any direction. So we're not just talking about the Move Abroad process. We're talking about investing in you.
Yes.
Okay. So I have a firsthand knowledge of that. What I'm saying is, how do we bring that to fruition? How do we make that look like, okay, Dee just came home today and told me she quit because she now is ABCD, or is moving towards, you've taken the classes, you've invested in the process, and Sid is asking, what risk are you willing to take now? I think that's I'm throwing it on you so you don't throw it on me. I'm getting you first.
Well, first, most folks know that I've been a doula for 10 years. Most folks know that I've done that on the ground, that I've done that virtually because we had to pivot. They weren't letting us into hospitals. I started Big Sis Doula, the channel,
mm-hmm.
and that will expand into a community. I don't know where that's going to go, but I have to start. I have to get out there and be willing to be embarrassed. I have to be willing to do it scared. But what I'm finding is I'm not the only person doing this. If you can get into community, you can get in with other people. Whether that is Dr. Linda, who's like, look, we're in an accountability group as YouTube content creators. And we were deciding we're going to meet up and we're going to talk about what we're doing. And, everybody would round robin hosting and sharing something new. And I was like, I felt like I had a lot of growth in our early YouTube journey because I knew, A, I wasn't alone, B, that I didn't have to think everything up by myself. Like, the trial and error wasn't just for my benefit. It was to be able to share that back. I feel like I need that structure in this interim to put into the world. This is what I want to do, but I need community. I need somebody that's going to come back and say, you said you were going to do that LinkedIn page. You said you were going to go pitch three content creators to be on their channel to talk about the community that you're developing, your masterclass on birthing abroad. Do it. Have you done it?
Mm-hmm. And what Celeste is saying here, I think, is important. And Celeste, I think here's a part of our personality where we've had a challenge here, because again, this takes us back to our knowledge of we want some things to be having a financial cushion is a safety feature that is important to us. Having a plan for our, let's say, this use the word possession. So be it our house, whether we're going to keep it, leave it, lose it, whatever, the things in the house, where our kids are going to be. Those are bases for, I think, sometimes why we get caught in the loop of, well, this job is going to take care of that. So then, and the release from that, I think, puts the hold, the pushback on taking a chance on us, because I'm worried. Well, I know that lack of self-confidence in our ability to earn at a rate that we feel comfortable with. Notice I didn't say at a rate that we currently have. That if we earn at a rate that is consistent and that we feel comfortable with, says, okay, but if I can't do that consistently, then I have that. I think a part of this conversation needs to be the underlying goal setting, planning, sticking to a plan and a budget. And I think that currently a part of our fear factor is, and I'll take the single pronoun as head of household.
Okay.
Is I have not made that consistent.
But we turned a corner. We've turned a corner.
Okay.
I think turning a corner in the structure, turning the corner on community. And when I talk about accountability and stuff, I'm not asking people to push me forward by checking with the level of check-in that I'm talking about. I'm saying what I'm realizing is I hadn't considered contracting, another way to create part-time income, income replacement, or as Celeste does, she gets a contract for a certain amount of time. She builds in through her savings the break that she needs before starting her next contract. Okay. I'm in community with Yolanda, who had been working for an employer to fund her move to Spain. She said, I'm not waiting to get another job. I want to start securing larger contracts that pay me. I agree to an hour, what do you call it? To give so many hours, but I want to make the level of money that I was making in a shorter amount of time. That is what community is giving grease to my wheels, is what I know I cannot do anymore is leverage more effort to get money.
Correct.
I'm everything in my being, every time I try to go get a second job where I'm out of the house, because we did that with the 7 jobs between us. I was just like, I'm too old to do 5 a.m. to 11 p.m. every day to bring in the money that we brought in to pay off that debt. I can't leverage effort. So I've got to be smarter about what I do, what I lean into. A lot of this entrepreneurial stance that I feel like I'm taking it's not going to be anything that jumps. And so I've got to give it time. Investment. It's not going to pay what I want it to pay to fund my life at the beginning.
Jay Stokes said earlier, he made a comment that we need to take those skills and then everybody said it, because I think Bobby said it too. Take the skills we're learning on these jobs and transfer them to our personal thing. Bet on yourself every single time. Be grateful but not surprised. And I think one of the things I share with you all the time is, why are you surprised that you are successful? And as long as you continue to be, the people with whom you come in contact with are your peers, they're not your mentors.
You've said that for 20 years.
Okay. As if you continue to say they're here and I'm here, then you never acknowledge the level of greatness that is D. And I'm talking to you, and I'm slapping myself too. But you know what I'm saying?
I feel you.
And we're not talking about, and I'm saying this, we're having this conversation because I think it's important with everybody. Is a part of our hindrance is ourselves, the limitations we see of ourselves. Everybody else can, but I can't. Cedric says, if people are making earrings with their faces on them and getting them sold, okay, and this is important. You and I have talked about this a lot of times. I get up and go to work every day. I leave here somewhere between 7 and 9 o'clock every day. Sometimes I'm not back to 12 hours within that time frame. Having time to say, I'm going to be creative here, because the purpose of that time frame is to make sure that that's taken care of, and that's taken care of, and that's taken care of.
Those of us with attention deficit disorder, if you know anything about neurodivergent populations, this is even more true. Cedric's statement is even more true, that what happens is so much is drawn out of me that I don't have the physical energy or the mental space to pull to pull together creative energy. It can compound, but to pull that together after a day of, and no lie, y'all, I'm getting ready to go back into the back-to-back meetings from 9 a.m. till 4 p.m. some days, most days. This is that season. Like, what I don't have, can I feed myself? I won't have the creative energy to do it. What does Celie say? And I know you won't be able to tell me from The Color Purple. She said, want to sing and have it beat out you? That's sometimes what I feel like working. That the working structure, the structure of work in the US specifically, is there to drain you. Then they check you. Are you working any other job? And here's our policy about when you can work and how you can work. And you need to get permission from us to have a second or a third job. Okay. Now you all up in my private business on top of telling me what I can do during the workday. Okay. Yeah. Wage slavery.
Yeah. Things will never work out the exact way you plan. Dr. Linda's spanking you here.
Okay.
Yes, you can plan as much as you want, but you have to be willing to take risk and fail. Failures are opportunities to get better. Nothing is wasted. We say these things to our children. This boy who's walking around the back of the house, verbatim, we say this every single day to him. So said Dr. Jay Stokes, a setback.
Oh, Lord.
Telling you your age there, Jay. Yes. Pick a number, fund it, then move on to the next contract or business or job.
Yep. Yeah.
He said earlier, every time I left a job, I found something better.
Yeah.
I've been paid more working on something I like doing than all the jobs I went to school to do.
Yes.
And we're not talking about I've just paid more, like leaps and bounds more, doing something that I didn't even have to go to school to do.
Right.
I've been paid more. And I have to take my hand off my shirt and release myself.
Yeah.
I'm holding myself in place. There was an old VA commercial. I don't know if you remember the VA and the people you were walking down the street sideways, and it was like, you need a VA.
Should have had a VA.
Later on, they had a commercial with a guy. He wasn't walking sideways. He was dragging himself down the street by his neck. He couldn't even stand up. And somebody brought him a V8. Sometimes you need the basics.
Yeah.
You have to receive, because V8 is just vegetables in a blender. Sometimes you just need to go back to the basics and say, this is the boost to whatever. Because we could work forever and stand there and talk about how we don't want to work forever.
If my great grandparents could find a way to sock away money, cover the extra that wasn't covered with what they grew in their crops, to establish a life away from sharecropping, that's in my DNA. That's in my DNA.
Mm-hmm.
They were able to leave a system built with slavery 2.0.
At least.
Your grandmother picked up her family and moved.
My grandmothers, my father's mother, did businesses and raised those kids on her own. When she picked up and moved from Georgia to Ohio, her daughters followed her.
Yep.
But she stayed in contact with all of us. My mother's mother ran a daycare. It never needed to be licensed because that was the era they lived in. Ran a highly successful daycare from out of their home, except for the last 10 years, 15 years of her life, maybe. I'm talking about my mother and aunts and uncles, their whole life. There were other kids in the house. My mother became a teacher. My aunt became a teacher. 99.9% of all of their cousins are teachers. I mean, it is what it is. And it was her own business. And my grandfather, her husband, got up every morning. He was a painter, self-employed. What am I doing? It's in the legacy blood. Hold on. Thought this was important.
Mm-hmm.
The American workplace is the number on our confidence.
You ain't never lied. You have never lied. Celeste, I'm questioning my own skills. I'm questioning myself. I had a real conversation with my manager just yesterday, and I was just like, I'm a researcher. Like I stand on theory. When I design programs, I know they work because I've done them, and there's hundreds of research articles, and you're gonna turn around and tell me that's not gonna work because we ain't never done that like here before. And when you have that said to you over and over and over and over again, you begin to just be like, what do y'all want? I'll do whatever it is you want. And I started to be okay with that. Instead of saying, I know this work, I thought you hired me because you wanted that knowledge base to be a part of what. No, they just want me to do. You think I spent all this money on this education so I could ask you how high?
Yeah.
Nah.
Yeah.
Nah. What did I read to you last night? I'm so burnt out that people knew the direction I was walking in from the ashes.
Yeah, Seth got jokes.
Okay. I'm just saying, why my good job brings me security. When you start flushing out your why, when you start peeling back, I acknowledge my emotion, the emotional tie that I have. When I acknowledge that I've had financial trauma where steady money in whatever capacity is an attractant. But then you begin to think outside the matrix, either because you're in communities that encourage you, that are always talking about breaking out of the matrix. They're always talking about, but have you considered, and have you considered, and have you even taken a breath? I checked in on my PTO numbers and I was like, do you know how far I am away from being able to take a substantial amount of time off? If you're not using your PTO, or if you're using your benefits all the time, I've been talking about, yeah, I just, you get certain number of issues per certain number of sessions per issue per year, and I'm using them. If you got to overuse, do you know? Okay, this is what I was thinking about this morning.
Mm-hmm.
Our employees, we just got a big award a few years ago.
Okay.
And these employees are under a lot of time constraints, production constraints. They are putting in to get these tasks completed on time and under budget,
Mm-hmm.
but they're putting in 60 and 70-hour weeks. Outside the matrix, we would just be like, why aren't they hiring more people so that people don't have to be burned out like that? That's not what they're doing. What they're doing is they're bringing medical staff on site so that people, if they need to go to the doctor for their high blood pressure medication, for their new diabetes medication, they're bringing on-site counselors so that you can talk to somebody about how stressful or how difficult or how your job doesn't fit into your life. They're bringing those in instead of, I was like, isn't that the definition of toxic? Isn't that the, like, you would not resolve the problem. You would build in structures or supports to keep going down this path.
I'm going to say this because this is where I'm going to begin to wrap this up. Is I think sometimes jobs are toxic because we made them toxic.
Ooh.
Not because they are toxic, but because we made them toxic. I work a job. My go-to work job is a 1 day a week job. 1 day I'm required to work. One. I say to all the young people, all the new people who often I have to train, if they are in my position, don't make this your day job. Find a day job. Come in here on the day you're required to work. Okay. The importance of that statement is because I just worked over 50 hours at that job this week. At a job, I'm telling everybody else, don't be there but 1 day because it's your 1 day. Find yourself some day job work, whether you create it. I'm talking a lot of noise. So here I am. This conversation today is an accountability conversation for the missus and I. we're talking freely and smoothly, but this is not an easy conversation to have because it is an acknowledgement that we have. I'm telling you, Ted and Bobby, out loud here, thank you for the conversation, because it was a whoa, not just in the information. The information was basic. I mean, no, I don't mean that to sound bad, but I mean, it was classic information. It was, here's the truth. It hit us because we are having this same conversation. And unfortunately, we are having this conversation one way away from ourselves instead of back towards ourselves. Mm-hmm. And I am working in a position that when they need to make things better, this position is where they cut us hours, because so many of us come in and help the regular people do their job so that they can survive. But when they need to cut us, they cut us. And unfortunately, we're using this once a day job as a full-time resource. Mm-hmm. It's toxic because I've made it that way. Because I go in every day going, every day. We're not talking about a bad job. We're talking about I'm in pain because it's a physical job.
It's hot.
It's hot outside. I'm asking them to give me permission to come in earlier than the time that they've allotted for us to be able to come in because I am outside. That ain't what I want to do. And I'm not there because they made me. I'm not there because Dee made me. And so I'm really encouraging all of us. We have to reevaluate the terms that we are allowing to enslave us. Security, stability, safety, comfort, gain, success. We're not talking about these are bad words. These are not bad words, but how we are implementing them in our lives, how we are judging the weight and value of who we are as people, as citizens, as community builders, as spouses, as parents. We are using these words to dictate for us whether we can or cannot, and are allowing the natural, divine given gifts to atrophy. To dreams, our purpose. To wither away. Passion and integrity and life.
I want more. That's what this conversation is about. Why my good job brings me security. Once I say it doesn't, once I acknowledge that that is a lie, once I acknowledge, it invites you, you're at a fork. You're at a roundabout.
Oh God. She knows.
Where you've got so many options to go a different way. Now you can stay in the roundabout, or you can choose a path. You can research it to death. You can say, but I'm scared, I'm this, I'm that. Thank you for being an audience that was willing to go down this path. You knew we were going to say, these jobs ain't loyal. You knew we were going to say jobs are not secure. What we're hoping walking you through our journey does is it helps you to touch the tender places. It helps you to say, I've had a dream that I allowed to bloom, and the wind came, the rain came, the fire came, the soil caused it to wither and die. But this is not the space where dreams come to die. This is a space where possible, not only the possible of creating something, but the possibility that the creation will continue. Creation is a continuous. It is a term of infinity. It builds on itself. And so I want the first domino in what you all leave with today is, I am secure in me and in the divine gifts that I've been given, that I have allowed to be prostituted, that I've allowed other processes to dictate, that have not allowed me to hear myself and to hear my inner knowing and respond. Take a deep breath, y'all. It's real here. If you don't like real conversations, we are very, very, very into real here.
We are the dreams our ancestors had. We are the dreams our ancestors had.
We are the realization.
We're the realization of those dreams.
And, oh, yes. Yes, Sam. Yes, yes.
And I appreciate the heart and warmth we feel continuously, each and every time we go live. We go live because we can't hide. It would be really easy for us to just send you an edited video because
look at the cute way we talk, and we don't have or are looking for our fan before we start. Like we're out here.
Greta, I ain't work either. That was my required work day. I'm too black to work on Juneteenth.
Oh, baby, that's the first thing I took back. Oh, I wish we had time. There's stuff I have taken back within my workspace. Maybe that could be an edited video.
Ooh, Dave.
Yeah.
Thank you for allowing us to be open and honest with you. Thank you for being an amazing community.
Absolutely.
If you are watching from the future, please give us some comments in the comment section.
How are you? How are you? How are you confronting? Confronting what's holding you back. Once you are at the place of, my security is not out there, my security is here. I have faithfully provided a service to an employer from the time I was 15 till today, where next month I'll be 51. I've done it a long time for somebody else.
You've done it long enough.
And it's long enough.
It's long enough.
So peace and blessings. Peace and blessings.
It's always an honor to have you.
Get in here. Reset with Celeste. If you want to find that freedom in contracting work, she's talking the talk. If you're looking for breadcrumbs, you do not have to do it alone. Word Up Psychotherapy. You need somebody to help you unpack some stuff. People are in the comments. Greta, Midlife Money Moves, is in here. She gonna be talking her talk. is talking her talk, aging grateful. They be having these income as well as family, as well as real life move abroad.
Stop talking about me on video.
Black women build wealth. If you want to be in, if you want to create the mindset, sometimes you got to start just having people just talk in your ear that's talking something different than the people around you, because everybody else is in the matrix. They're going to be saying, why are you leaving that good job? You need some alternative ways of doing that. Do that.
We are the connection for the future of success. If we have to create our next Wall Street, we do this together.
Yep.
We bind this together. Our business is on Front Street so that we can help make us a new Wall Street.
Yep.
We hope to see you soon. I'm Herman. This is my girl D. She's gonna be away from me for a while. So when you see us on the double screen, just know
we outside. We outside.
We'll see y'all soon.
Bye for now.